Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is Beyond the Mask, and I am your host, Johnny. And today we've got John Kerkoff. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Johnny, great to be here. Thank you for having me on and just really exciting stuff.
Let's go. Yeah, this is going to be really, really fun. So, as everyone has known, I've been bringing on different CEOs and different entrepreneurs and high-level people in this world who want to make a big impact. And I met John through a mutual friend or through LinkedIn, and we just connected and started talking about veterans and our future mission in terms of helping them out, grow, and support their families. And John, you've got an incredible mission coming up that I would love for you to share, but. I know your background as a first sergeant in the U.S. Army. After 20 years of leading high performance teams, you're kind of transitioning now into kind of helping build ecosystems for transitioning veterans, retired veterans, which is so incredible, man. When I started this podcast a couple months ago, Jordy, who is the CEO of Seven Eagle Group, came on, and that's when I got connected with the veteran group. But it kind of just blew up, and so I've got a ton of clients now signed up. Met up with John, and I know the thing that you told me on our previous call was just absolutely mind blowing in terms of like where we want to go. And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about kind of what started this whole movement about like what you're doing and how people can get more involved, possibly.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's Jordy's a great person, right? Everything with Seven Eagle, I love them. In that fact, he kind of got me spun up when I stood up Frago a few years ago, just trying to get the wheels going, trying to get into that space. Being a veteran myself, I understood that space very well. And he kind of said, "Hey, why don't you come check out what I'm doing?" And we get some synergies. So that's kind of how that started. And then that's as my mission started developing, I figured out more what I want to do. And as you said, it's about an ecosystem. I realized there are some great people out there doing great things, but they're kind of just hitting these small little targets when we're missing all the overlap components. So I said we need a full ecosystem. And
Yeah.
so what I started to do, I ended up getting partnered up with a really amazing doctor of PTSD and trauma therapy. She runs a nonprofit, and we said, hey, we need to make this holistic. And so we started what started out as a concept she had with these communities for behavioral mental health. And I said, well, we need to add veterans. Well, we need to add vocational schools. And,
Yeah.
we really need to make this about full-fledged healing. Oh, let's not forget the families and let's not forget the children and everyone else who supports that. So what just started out as something to, help with housing and behavioral health just has evolved into this full-fledged now ecosystem community and the systems that support it. So not just support the individuals, but support the whole ecosystem. And it's super exciting. And I know you kind of alluded to earlier, like we just put in for a bunch of grants in California and a few other states, and like
Yeah.
we're ready to really make an impact, not talk about it.
You guys are spreading quick. And what's so cool is because especially over the last couple of months, I've got to know a lot of these different, veterans with different backgrounds, and they all have a common theme. It's like whenever you start transitioning or start a family and now you're off on your own, you feel isolated in a way, or maybe even lost, and you don't really know what the right next steps are or like what career path you want to choose, things like that. And which is an amazing first step, but I like how you keep on bringing up the word ecosystem where we're building communities because I feel like veterans thrive in community, right? We're more motivated. We want to be part of a big team who share similar goals. And so the fact that you guys are kind of creating that for veterans is incredible. And it's working because it's blowing up so much too, which is really exciting.
Oh, it is. It's been super exciting. And
Yeah.
um, to kind of paint a picture for people who, are trying to envision this, right? Think of a military base, except it's not a military base. So everything is there. When I say community, I'm not talking an online community. I mean like a legit physical, you could drive through the streets community and it'll have
Yeah.
anything and everything to support our veterans and their families.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you talk about holistic health and mindset and like changing the way people are thinking, especially now that we're not serving your country anymore. Now that you're serving yourself, your family, your future self, whatever career you want to have. So I think starting off with on the mental side of it is so important. So I like how you immediately dove into that first, because it kind of creates a really amazing foundation for yourself whenever you want to level up and go do something great, right?
Well, absolutely. And actually, that kind of unspoken thing about transition, and this, when I say transition, I mean all transition, transitioning
Yeah,
from the military, transitioning into adulthood. If you came from a bad home, and you're transitioning, right? You lose an identity in that transition.
yeah,
And when we talk veterans, right? You look at 99% of veterans, regardless of how long they served, that's the majority of their adult life was the military. So they've never understood
A
what
lot of
it
them
meant to
right out of
not.
high school.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Yeah.
they never really acclimated into a society yet. So it's
Yeah.
what is their identity when they leave the military? And that's where we want to start. Like, I'll be the first to admit it. My first year retired out of the army, I had an identity crisis and like, who am I, and what am I doing? And that's kind of what put the gears in motion.
Right. So when you were in this crisis of who am I, where am I going, is this when you thought of this idea?
That's when it started taking shape because like
Yeah.
normal people, I transitioned out of the military. I was working for a company, but it was like, do I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing or where I living up to my potential?
Right.
Because out here in the civilian side of things, there's no one cares. There's no structure, like structure we had in the military. So it's like, oh no, what am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And the loss of structure suddenly kind of makes people spiral into depression or having anxiety or not really like having that identity crisis for sure.
Absolutely. And so I wanted to fix that.
That's awesome. So to walk us through how you got started building like your very first community. Like what were the first steps that you took?
So it was a lot of learning process into this, right? Because first of all, we had to draft up what does this community look like and how we want it to operate.
Right.
So we came to like some core things like we want it to be self-sustaining, we want it to
Yeah.
be veteran owned and land, uh, veteran owned and operated. Right. On veteran land, they get it. So we started with this foundation, but then we had to go through that role of like, well, now we need to learn what counties want, the process of getting permits and licensing for these kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're going to have a vocational school, what does that look like? How to, so piece by piece, we had to, here's what we want, but then we had to learn all the back end stuff to that specific thing. And then we had to make sure it was fluid with the community itself. So it was very, I don't want to say slow because we did it really fast, but at the same time, it was a huge learning curve.
Yeah. Well, that's a
And we're
huge
still learning.
project. That's a big
Yeah,
project, right?
it's a very
And
big
I feel like
undertaking.
you also learn more about what you're trying to accomplish through meeting different investors and hearing different ideas. And because some people just don't align with your mission or with your vision, whatever you're trying to do. And finding the
Absolutely.
right people just to make it happen
Yeah.
takes time.
It takes time and money's always the hardest, easiest but hardest thing out there. It's because
Right.
when you're talking projects to this scale, it requires a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you're going to run into two types of people who know they could profit from it, and that's all they care about is the profit, not the mission.
Hmm.
And we don't want to align with that because then that just muddies that water and it's not about the people anymore. But the other part is now the reverse of that is true. The people who want to help may not have that kind of capital. So it's like, how do we get everyone involved and get it flowing and,
Right.
building, donating, resourcing, helping, whatever the case is.
Yeah. Man, what a project that must be to contact all these people and be like, hey, this is my idea. Can you donate like millions of dollars to help us make this happen?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, most of the time we get it through grants. So the one
yeah.
I spoke about in California, we're waiting approval for that. I think they're still 90 days before they'll make a decision on that. But I mean, you're talking that's the bulk of the funds. But then like we've had great organizations like the Home Depot Fund who would donate stuff. We've had philanthropists who will come out and say, "Hey, I'll donate these resources or this time, or sometimes just money," and just
Yeah.
like, and we work it all in just to make it that. And
Yeah.
when people believe in the mission, it happens.
That's awesome. Hey everyone, Johnny here. Sorry for interrupting, but I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you so much for being here on my podcast. If you guys are enjoying the episodes and the conversations that I'm having with these special guests, please go ahead and like this video and hit that subscribe button so that you guys can see our future episodes. I know there's a ton of different podcasts and episodes that you could be listening to or watching right now. So once again, thank you so much for being here and supporting us. All right. Now back to the show. That's very cool. Now, I want to ask you kind of the same question in two different ways. Okay.
Okay.
As an entrepreneur, where think back to where you kind of felt stuck, you didn't know what the next steps are, you didn't really, you had that loss of identity. What kind of helped you figure out this is where I want to go?
Honestly, I started doing mentorship work for ACP, American Corporate Partners, and I realized I was really enjoying that, getting back with that. I was getting calls from some of my old soldiers as they transitioned out, helping them. And I said, okay, I know this is where I need to be. I feel like I'm in my zone, I'm in my element. But
Right.
then working with some other nonprofits and some other organizations, and this is kind of how Frago stood up, was I realized there's a lot of great organizations to help the individual veteran, but no one's helping the organizations like the businesses. And people go, why would you care? Well,
Yeah.
because if no one wants to hire veterans because of a stigma or because they're worried the veterans won't stick around, they're not going to invest that money. So it needs to be both sides. And I said, let
Right.
me. So when I first stood up Frago, it was actually a consulting firm for organizations to help them build that ecosystem in their own companies to attract veterans and keep them. The
Yeah.
key point being the keeping them, retaining them. And then again, it just started growing from there. And I met Dr. Sherry, and boom, we just started, well, now we got to do this. Now we got to get them
Yeah.
trained. Now we got to get them ready. Here's the pipeline, and it built.
Nice. So at some point you did at least hire some sort of mentor to
Yes.
help
Oh,
you
yes.
through some of this stuff. Right. And I feel like, especially for veterans who are feeling that lost sense of purpose and identity, connecting with an old friend or your old unit or investing in some sort of mentor, like surrounding yourself with a community of people who are going to lift you up is going to be step number one.
Hmm.
Right. And the reason why I wanted you to say that was because I've had conversations with hundreds of different veterans about feeling in this mode of like I'm stuck and I don't know where I'm going,
Hmm.
right? And as a health and fitness professional, I want to make sure that like you're making the right decisions for you so that everything else around you can, get easier, feel happier, things like that. But but yeah, man, the first step is invest in some sort of help, whether that be like a business coach or a mindset coach or a health coach or something, just someone to hold you accountable so that you can see yourself leveling up.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah,
I always recommend have a few of them and make sure they're from different walks of life, I'll say,
yeah,
because they give you such a great perspective that you could bring internally and kind of piece them together. So, like, I love
right,
having a health and fitness coach, for example, right? Because that's a big fall off for any veteran is they usually don't work out as hard as they used to, or they're not offsetting. They're still eating the calories like they were serving, but they're not doing
right,
that same level of activity. So, having that, taking care of yourself, but then having someone to talk business with, having someone to talk spirituality with, having someone to
yeah,
talk, just basic hardship with, but you want them all to kind of be from different pools so you get a bigger perspective and not an echo
right,
chamber, if you will.
right. Yeah. Yeah, having a partner or a mentor or some sort of friend who can help you develop your fun side, your fitness side, your faith, and your family or your relationships. All four of those I think are huge. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. And
yeah,
and don't be afraid to have that one person who's going to counteract everything you say. That devil's advocate person, because they also bring something to the table and they will
right,
help you identify kind of gaps in your thinking.
right, definitely. All right, John. So where do you see Frago 22 going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh man, we're already on path and we're accelerating it like as if we're
I'm
driving
excited.
Bravo
Yeah,
Bill on full blast. So
yeah,
definitely continuing to build up these communities. I want to hit internally. I'll kind of give away my business secret here. Internally, I'm trying to get to this point where I'm gonna hire on a dedicated COO to run the straight business consulting side of the house. So I could purely focus on these communities at large because
yeah,
the communities at large are very, very intense in terms of we're running a behavioral health facility on there, a mental health facility, a vocational training school.
yeah,
So it's bringing in that talent, bringing in that local talent to teach that, to get these people certified, and out into the workforce. So that in the next 5 years, that's where it is. We're hitting more and more states. Right now, we're looking to break into Texas. We're looking to break into Florida. We're also no joke, we're going to take this to Canada. We've already got some good stuff going on in Canada, and
love
now
it.
we're going to extend it. Then we're going to take it to Asia, right? So and it will it will benefit more than just veterans. So let me make sure I note that like these are
Yeah,
anyone who's in any kind of hardship who needs that fresh start, even people coming out of the prison system, even people coming out of foster homes, like it fits that model, and we're going to take it worldwide.
yeah. Man, I love that. That's incredible. Some
It's so exciting.
It's so exciting, big visions, and I love how you chose some of the southern states. Just because I'm from Texas, and I love Florida, and I feel like a lot of veterans want to move to Florida for sure.
Well,
Um,
there's pros and cons to everywhere we go,
yeah,
but that's the beauty of our Voc school is that it's tailored to wherever it's at. So it's not a
Yeah.
one size fits all Voc school. It's a, hey, if you're here in Texas, here's XYZ that we're focused on. You're in
Yeah.
Florida, XYZ focused on. Right now we're talking to a few people up in New Jersey. That's a very different dynamic. So it's,
Yeah.
picking up that but there's a fit everywhere.
Yeah. So what kind of investors or partnerships are you looking for to make this grow faster and get the vision you want?
So I'm glad you asked that because we kind of broke it off into tiers, if you will.
Okay.
So obviously, if you're a veteran entrepreneur, we want to work with you first, right?
Nice.
Whether that is you're coming on to give us services, whether you're coming on, we're going to subcontract you, whether you just want to invest and have your business as a part of it, boom, we want you there. We're always looking for grants, grant writers, help us out with that, technology experts, because again, when I say these communities, we want them to be veteran owned. This isn't Frago's going to own all these different properties everywhere. No, we
Yeah.
don't want that. That's the exact opposite of what we want. So we do want those veteran businesses to come in and they will own a part of that community. The houses are all owned by the veterans themselves. And so it's
Nice.
not, bro, when I say complete veteran owned, right? The only thing that won't be veteran owned, and I use that in parentheses, are the behavioral health facilities because the laws that are required of how those things run and operate and let unless you're already a certified licensed veteran themselves that can run those. But so
Right.
that's the only one nuance. But everything else from the Voc school, the houses, the gyms, right? We want the veterans to own it. And then even if you're coming in as a VC or through Frago or whatever the case, that's we have different avenues at different levels, different tiers. And everything we do runs through the nonprofit side of the house, our
Yeah.
501(c), which is the Face of Illness Co-op. And so even just regular donors who just want to get behind it, get that tax write-off, hey, you could contribute that way too. And
Yeah.
and like in people don't realize there are things that's called in-kind donations. Think of it like Goodwill. You donate your furniture, you get a small tax write-off. Works the same way. You donate materials to us, that's a tax write-off for you at the
Oh,
value of the
there you
whatever
go.
you donate.
Yeah.
So so we've had some really good agriculture firms who have like greenhouses and stuff. They've donated to us. It's a tax write-off for
That's a
them,
tax write-off.
benefit to
Yeah.
us.
So it's like an ecosystem within the community, but also in and out of the communities. They're all working together to help people save money and build something amazing.
Yeah, everything supports
Yeah.
everything else. So there's no single
Yeah.
point of failure, and there's no like, oh guys, well we were going to give you services, but we didn't get funders this time. No, we're eliminating
Yeah,
all
no.
that. So when I say self-sufficient, self-sufficient.
Love it. That's awesome. That's great. Very cool. So
Yeah.
what's the next step for 2026? We're filming
So
this it's December 5th right now, 2025. So um you got some big plans for the beginning of the year?
oh, huge plan. So in fact, right now I know I told you right before we started this is that we're doing a micro fundraising event right now, and this is just uh, we're some of these grants we're required to do a match donation and then in kind donation, so we fundraise for some of that. Actually, a lot of the stuff that I've micro fundraised for are the permitting and zoning because people don't realize to get the proper
Yeah.
zoning and permits, like all these counties and tax and the tax codes and stuff. So we got to pay into that. So it's getting that. But going into 2026, I mean, you're looking, we get that California grant. So there's two huge sites that go up, one in LA, one in Contra Costa County. Those are, I mean, huge,
Those are
multi-hundred
big.
million dollar societies right there. We're
Yeah.
breaking into Texas, like I said, so we're doing that, Tennessee, and then still working the Virginia and the Florida pieces. But immediately in the gates of 2026 is California, Nevada, and Arizona right off the bat.
Awesome. Like they're being built at the moment and they're ready to go or what?
So California, we're waiting on the grant funding to come in. We'll break ground immediately. Arizona, right now we're in location identification. We know kind of around the greater Phoenix area, but we don't know exactly where. And then once we get that, the model goes up. And if our investor for that specific area likes it and he likes the numbers, boom, we'll immediately start there. And then Nevada, we're working with the school board right now as we speak in Nevada.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
2026 is blazing.
Let's go. Yeah. That's very exciting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So Yeah, I want to ask you some personal questions now, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
As a veteran who, you have kids?
I do.
So we're a veteran, as a dad, as a business owner. What's one way that you relieve some stress?
Oh man. So little fun fact me, I write in my spare time. I like to write things. In fact, I do have one published book already. It was a kid's book. Just
Oh,
kind of
okay.
yeah, so it's called
What's it called?
The Captain.
The Captain.
And
Okay.
yep. And in fact, hang on, let me I made it
Is it
with a
on
buddy and
Amazon?
it's on Amazon.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll put a link in the caption down below for the
okay,
book.
sweet. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it started as a project with a good buddy of mine. He does a lot of artwork. I'm not an artist, but I could write. We said, hey, we want to kind of aim at young adults who are just maybe struggling with just the day-to-day lives, that like weight of the world, that, am I
Yeah.
good enough for this? And so we just made a series of small little stories surrounding this boy, and he kind of gets this mentorship through this captain. So we decided it actually fared very well, a lot better than we thought it would. So now we're actually writing part two to that.
Oh, cool.
And so I do that, but just getting out there in the world, just being outside, love nature,
Yeah.
taking the kids out places. We're actually a big theme park family, so we
Oh,
go to a
that's
lot of
awesome.
theme parks, a lot of sporting events, baseball and hockey and football, and so just when I'm not working, it's quality time with them, and they inspire me more than they realize. I won't tell them that though, not yet.
Okay. So what sports do you like watching the most versus playing the most?
So I'm a huge hockey fan.
Okay.
I'm a San Jose Sharks fan, and the reason so is I grew up in California, so they had just become a team, like a franchise team, when I was living there, and that
Okay.
was the kind of my introduction to hockey at the same time. So just stuck with them since. I do love watching hockey even out here. In Virginia, I live close to Capital One Arena, so I could watch the Capitals play. Or if I'm down in Raleigh, I'll watch, the Hurricanes play. So I love watching that. The
Cool.
kids love baseball, so we're always going to baseball games.
That's
And
very
then
cool.
they're now sort of getting into football, so it's just very like, hey, we jump around, we watch the sports and have fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I even though I was a collegiate swimmer, if I wasn't, I would have tried to go to college for baseball. I loved playing baseball all through high school.
Okay.
Um, but
I played freshman year baseball freshman year,
yeah.
and I broke my hand, so that ended that career real fast in a hurry. But in fairness, I wasn't that good anyway.
Yeah. The one sport I'm not great at is basketball. I played once like in eighth grade and I broke my ankle and I was like, well, that's it.
Oh,
I'm done with this. So
yeah. I think the only sport I was actually good at playing was soccer, and I was a big grown up. I
okay.
made the golf team strictly because there were 52 slots and only 41 of us went to tryouts, so I made it by default.
Oh, so you did make it by default.
By default, there no way I would have. My handicap was so atrocious. It still is. Like, I'll tell you this: if you ever need me on your golf team, I can get out of a bunker and onto that green and putting, dude. Don't ask me to drive that ball nowhere.
Okay. That's awesome. We should if I'm ever in California, we should go play. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I only got into
I'm
golf
in
like
Virginia
3 or 4
right now,
years.
though. If you're ever over here,
Say again?
I'm in Virginia right now, so you'd have to come this way.
Oh, we gotta go to Virginia. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that famous golf course in California? That's like right on the water, right on the.
Oh, oh man, don't let me lie to you. I know which one you're talking about, but I don't know the name. I need my dad for that. He's a
People who are
golfer.
watching are gonna be irritated with me, but yeah, I forget. But I'd love to go there. I only got into golf like 4 or 5 years ago. I immediately became obsessed.
Yeah, I think my favorite course I've played, and again, because it's not overly challenging, but it's still a pro course, is True North in Arizona. I
Uh-huh.
love playing that one.
Okay.
It's the only one I really know.
Okay. All right, John. Are you a beer guy or a cocktails guy?
I'm more of a beer guy. However, I do love a really good old fashioned, a good smoked old
Ooh.
fashioned. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't
You gotta
beat it.
get one of
Or a
those
good bourbon.
smokers for your house.
I need one. I don't have one, but
Okay.
the one place I like to go to, they have this really cool box one. So they'll
Uh-huh.
throw the glass in there, it'll close, it'll be boxed up, then they'll make the drink, put it back in there for another few
And
seconds,
it
then
smells like a forest. Like a
yes.
That's awesome. Are you gonna do any kind of sports teams in your communities? That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So some of our programs aimed at kids revolve, of course, like after school sports, the local sporting events, the little leagues
Yeah.
and stuff. So we do those, but just again, getting those kids involved, having them do their own little tournaments, their own little games, skirmishes.
Yeah.
man, we love it. Like I said, I'm a big proponent of that. Just being active is fun. It's good for the brain. It's good for your mental health. It's
For
good
sure.
for good for your waistline, especially when you like beer like
Good
I
for
do.
your waistline. That's awesome. Well, man, this is so exciting, and I'm so excited for you. If there's anything that I can do, or anyone else who's watching that they can do, I'll have them. You guys comment down below. But love your idea and your mission and what you're doing and what you're planning on building over the next couple of years. And it's just really exciting, dude. It's very cool.
Oh, it's super. Like I said, it evolved. This wasn't just a boom. One day we had this brainchild and we ran out. Like it was an evolution of process. It still is too. We still
Yeah.
evolve this thing every day. So, in fact, we just revamped our Cadence for Change website. We just revamped our Face of Illness website. I'm about to revamp my business's website, Frago's website. Again, we're just bringing it all together so everyone can see. And again, we want people to be a part of it because you can't build this in a silo.
Yeah. Well, the more people, the bigger the community, the more movement can happen and faster rate. Um,
Well,
so
and just so people can be involved, right? Like
yeah,
you feel better when you're like, man, I was a part of this and I helped with this, and you
yeah,
see the fruits of your own labor. And to even just as a individual person, is just, hey, social media is all about look at me, look at me, look what I'm doing, look what I'm doing. But why don't you get out here and actually do it, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. So if you guys who are watching would like to, donate or any kind of investors who want to reach out to John who, want to contribute to this mission, please encourage you to reach out to him on LinkedIn, right? Is there
Please
any other
do.
way people can find you?
So the best, easiest way to get me direct is LinkedIn. Very active on there,
Yeah,
and very responsive on there. But you could also go through Frago's website, frago22.com. You can go through face.
Frago22.com. Yeah, I'll
Yep.
post that down below as well. You guys can go check that out and read up more about it and see how you guys can get more involved.
The big one though is I want everyone to go to is cadenceforchange.com.
Cadenceforchange.com. Okay.
Yep. So if you want to see the whole program in its entirety and everything and the team behind it, like that's where you go. You'll get the best information for these communities, how they work,
Right.
where we're putting them. That's the bulk of the information
Okay. I'll
on
put
that
that one
side of
down below as well. People can go check that out. And hopefully, if you're watching this, you're in the same city and you guys can help each other out.
Well, we want to take this to any city, and
Any
and
city.
this is a blueprint model. Like this
Yeah.
isn't you have to wait for me to go do it. We could give you the blueprint, tell you how to get it. We'll help you kind of go through that role of getting your own stuff. But
Yeah.
again, this isn't for me to own. This is for all of us as a community to come together and support each other.
Love it. Great. Well, John, for all of us who are listening here, is there anything that you want to say as we close off here? Anything specific, whoever's watching here?
Hey, I just want to inspire everyone to, just get out there and do it, right? Just go do that passion you have, that fire in you. You'd be amazed what happens when you take that first step. It actually does get easier. People fear it. Once you get it and you get that momentum, it's beautiful. And there's many, many people out there who are itching to help you, right? And good people like Johnny who are out there, good people like the doctor I work with, like some of my old veteran leaders. They
Yeah.
are amazing. They're ready to help you. Jordy, like you and I both know, he is a great person. Talk to him and you'd be amazed. And just
Yeah.
we're ready. Let's go.
Let's go. That's awesome. Love it. Well, John, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. To those who are watching or listening to this, please go ahead and like this video and hit that subscribe button as well. Gonna have a lot more very exciting veterans and business owners on here. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. See you, John.